Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. It is Friday, July 19th, 2019. I love the number 19. The Lord always does something cool on the 19th of each month for me. And I'm enjoying myself. I'm actually back home again in Indiana. That's the saying that we have here in Indiana. And I got here Wednesday night. I leave tomorrow morning, so it's going to be a short stint of being in Indiana. Going to Ohio this weekend to do ministry. Then I'll be back in Indiana at Fit for Life with Trina Weisel, where the last time I was there, we had like an amazing crowd of like 160 some people that showed up. So we are expecting another good full crowd next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. But this is really where it all began at for me, here in this little room that my good friend Bob Mann owns. He's 92 years of age, and when I needed to separate from my wife, this was a safe place, the Lord told me, that I could come. And sure enough, it was. And that was back on January 23rd, 2015. I was able to find peace here, and this is really where Restored to Freedom grew from, is this small house in Carmel, Indiana. And I don't get to come here much because I'm traveling all over the United States and Canada now. For the last 2.5 years, I've been doing this full time. And actually, I would have introduced you to Bob, but Bob had to take off because he's going up with his family to Michigan for a week or 10 days to enjoy some vacation time with his family. They do that every year, which is really awesome. The Mann clan, as they call them. So a shout out to Mr. Mann, wherever he's at. He's probably on the road right now. And he still drives himself and still works out at LA Fitness, which is not far from where I'm at. And he is staying young and doesn't take any medications. He is knows his authority in Christ. So it's an awesome, wonderful life that Bob Mann is living. So anyways, this is where it all began. This is actually where I did my first Facebook Worldwide Deliverance session back in March of 2017, was from this very spot. So it's very, very anointed here, and the presence of the Lord and the peace that I was able to receive here, it was just amazing. It was an amazing journey going from, where I was being tormented and couldn't do anything ministry-wise, to then the Lord calling me out to separate, and then I had peace here. And then ultimately I wrote my books here. All 9 of my books were, actually I guess the 9th one was finished out in, out in the Palm Desert, California, last September, but all the other books I wrote here. And it's good to come home, to be home. In fact, it was good because I have a place where I go for a walk and I pray in tongues and hear from the Lord a lot. That's just right down the road here. And I normally go on the entire walk takes me almost 2 hours. And I did that yesterday morning. I did that this last night. I did it again this morning. And it's just a wonderful place to go where it's peaceful, and it's next to a golf course, next to some beautiful homes, and just very peaceful, all paved and everything. So anyways, so all that being said, this is, I get to be here for a couple of days and I'm gone again. And so I don't get to stop off here very often and sleep in my own bed. So today, it's going to be a little bit different than my normal teachings. I'm going to be talking about the True Freedom Tour, which is really a culmination of what the Lord's had me do the last 2.5 years. When I've traveled, and I've done a lot of ministry in people's homes as well as in churches. And what I've learned along the way is there's a lot of churches that have people that are operating in the spirits of Jezebel and Leviathan, that are controlling, that are manipulative, that lie, that are prideful, arrogant. A lot of the leaderships in these churches. And so therefore they would never allow me to come into their church because, of course, it would expose them and operating in that. So that's why it's always been a challenge getting into various churches. It's a miracle to go through and do a corporate deliverance in any church. But that's where the Lord has been having me start out at, is going into the churches that would receive me and the message, and then those, of course, that have homes that would receive me. And there's been so many, miracles of people getting their lives changed, miracles of their marriages being saved. It always takes two people to save a marriage. So if one person, normally that struggles more with the Jezebel spirit, they have a much harder time admitting it, humbling themselves, getting delivered through forgiving people that have hurt them, like their mothers, like their fathers, like sexual violations they've had, stepfathers, stepmothers, and so they never see themselves as having any problems. They blame their spouse for everything. So people that have Jezebel, it's much, much harder for them to get delivered than those that have the Ahab spirit. Ahab spirits that are stronger can see that more easily in themselves. So ultimately, the Lord is saying, okay, now you've done 2.5 years worth of this, Nelson, and it's time to now go out to the masses. It's time to get 500 people, 1,000 people delivered at once. And so I'm going to share a little bit about the people who are going to be speakers with me on this True Freedom Tour that we are going to be starting in November 16th in in Cleveland, Ohio, not Columbus, so Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap of how I met these individuals, how the Lord connected us, as well as a kind of a bio background on these speakers, because they're all very, very anointed. And I'll say this, that I signed the agreement yesterday with Marriott in Cleveland. It's the Marriott. It's called the Cleveland Marriott East. It's in Warrensville Heights, Ohio, which is not too far from Christopher Milo. So it's very convenient, and he knows so many people in the Cleveland area. He's very, very renowned in that area. Also, I got a special rate for people of just $109, again, at a Marriott, at a full-blown Marriott. It's a really good rate for November 15th and 16th for those coming in on Friday night and staying through Saturday night. And I've also discussed with the Marriott corporate people our future tours that we're doing. We're going on January the 18th to the Woodlands in Houston. It's a very nice property. It's got a waterway that's around it. It's very beautiful. I was there last week to tour that. And then we're going in February to Phoenix, Arizona. So anyways, and I've had several dreams confirming, to have these in the hotels. In fact, one of the people that's involved in our tour, she had a dream that was very interesting, and it essentially was a dream that was confirming that the Lord does not want these in the churches, because unfortunately the churches in the large part are very tainted. A lot of people are operating in spirits of Jezebel, Leviathan, Kundalini, and Ahab. And the Lord's like, we need to have these outside of the church, unfortunately, at least for right now, so that we can get the people set free and delivered that are not going to try to control, try to manipulate, try to ruin, the event of the day. And there's going to be a lot of times when you have pastors that don't want their people to go to another church because they're afraid of losing them. That's something I've observed around the United States as well. And it's just ridiculous. It's all based out of fear. It's like, hello, if you're teaching what needs to be taught, then the people would not even think about going anywhere else, because the anointing of the Lord would be upon you. But if you are not teaching what needs to be taught, if you are bowing down to people that have Jezebel in your leadership, in your church, elders, whatever, worship leaders, then you're going to end up paying the price. So ultimately, that's why the Lord said so strongly, we need to do these outside the church. And then we can get as many people set free and delivered, and then they can either go back into the churches and let their pastors and let their other members know that, hey, my life was changed. I saved my marriage because I went to one of these conferences. So it's going to be fun, as we pick out other sites around the country going forth in 2020. My goal is to do a minimum of 12, but probably 20 is what we'll probably end up doing. We'll do a couple of months where we have 2 in a month, and we'll start again starting November 16th in Cleveland, and then January 18th in Houston, and then in February in Phoenix. And then we may, go to Florida, go to, I don't know, Indianapolis, go to California from there. So anyways, let me let you know, this is how this all kind of came together. I'll start off with the person I've known the longest, and that is Rabia Scott. I've known Rabia since 2009, and got connected with her actually with my ex-wife, because she had done counseling with my ex-wife. And so, and then her mentor became my mentor, and that's really what changed my life. Is I started hearing from the Lord really, really clearly, and he taught me about my authority. I prayed for my son. My son was delivered instantly, and we had peace. You know, it was amazing. So I've known Rabia since 2009. She used to be an actress on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show. She used to be a dancer for Prince. When she was 16, she was a dancer for Debbie Gibson, Shake Your Love video. And of course, just here recently, she did the movie Unplanned after not doing anything, you know, acting-wise for a long time. And she's got her own ministry. She does a lot of mentoring, you know, counseling, and very anointed, very gifted. She hears the Lord very clearly. And let me kind of read a little bit about her bio here. Rabia Scott's one of the stars of the recent hit film Unplanned. She's being used mightily by the Lord to help expose the truth behind Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry. Rabia played the role of Cheryl, the head of Planned Parenthood, in the movie. However, in real life, Rabia is a sought-after Christian speaker, coach, and author who imparts practical, applicable, biblical tools for transformation. Rabia's passion is seeing real change, you know, real change, not just fake change, real change in the lives of believers. Her greatest desire is to see you fully equipped and living in the freedom and fullness of all the promises available to you in God. She specializes in teaching how to connect with the presence of the Holy Spirit and how to experience God in a personal and powerful way. For over 20 years, Rabia has traveled the world sharing her message of emotional healing and freedom from counterfeit comforts. So you can understand, you know, she's going to be used very powerfully in this tour because she knows, she understands, you know, the demonic world. She also understands how to get people set free, you know, deliverance, you know, getting our soul wounds healed, and then walking out fully in the authority of Christ. So she really does, resonate with and embody what Restorative Freedom is all about. And I have done ministry actually out at her church when she had a church back in April 2017. That's what really started this journey of doing full-time ministry for me, was going out west. The Lord said, go west, young man, and I ended up going out there. And I was out there for 3 weeks in California. So that was awesome, and that's what really started things off. So I've known Rabia for over 10 years now, and very, very solid individual. In fact, I know her husband, James, her daughter, Gemma. I was actually played golf with her husband about 3 times now. So great couple and great family. So, and then I met Dominic Herbst. He's a Christian psychologist, a therapist, author, consultant, public speaker. He's nationally renowned. He's been on various TV shows. If you remember the Oklahoma City bombing, he was hired to do all the counseling right after that happened. He was also sought after by John Hagee to do a ministry at Cornerstone, and the Lord told him that he needed to be doing this, you know, throughout the United States and not just at one location. So I got to meet Dominic in September of 2017 out in Pennsylvania. Where was I at? I was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And instantly we connected. I mean, he has such a loving heart, and he knows about demons and how real that they are. So he is just an awesome man, very loving. He has sent a lot of his people over to my ministry, and I've taken through some of them through deliverance. You know, I've worked with people who are multi-millionaires. I've worked with people who are FBI agents through him, Navy SEALs, and athletes, professional athletes, and so forth. So he works with a wide variety of people and organizations, including professional and college athletes, corporate executives, prison inmates, churches, and people or families in crisis. He's also made numerous national TV appearances, including interviews for a number of documentaries on rage, violence, and troubled youth. Dominic is the creator and steward of Restoring Relationships, a ministry dedicated to helping people create a victorious life by walking them through a process of addressing their most difficult challenges. So whether it's a shattered heart, a bad habit, a strained relationship, or life circumstances that won't seem to improve, Dominic's passion is to help you find the freedom you've been searching for. So see, that's so cool. And he does these live encounter events that I got to go to one, or part of one, in Columbus, Ohio. It was back in October of 2017. He's been to Texas several times, Florida, all over the United States. So God is really using him powerfully. And it's so interesting that they intertwine throughout all these speakers is the word freedom, because the Lord wants us all to be freed from the enemy and the torment. And he knows the Bible better than anybody I know, and it's amazing. He's a Christian psychologist. He's not a pastor, but he knows it better than a lot of the pastors out there. He understands, Scripture, what it means. He understands what it truly means to be freed, that these tormenting thoughts are demons. He knows that. He's not afraid to talk about that. And he's very, very, very anointed. And I've interviewed him a couple of times. Of course, I've interviewed Rabia as well. And I'll be interviewing them more leading up to the first tour that we have stopping in Cleveland on November the 16th. So that's Dominic. And then the Lord connected me last year, about a year ago, almost last week, I think it was a year ago to the day, was Christopher Milo, and his wife, Mary Beth. What's interesting about that is they were watching a Lance Wallnau, I think he was on Sid Roth, and he had mentioned about the Leviathan spirit. So they ended up Googling Leviathan spirit, and then Restored to Freedom, my ministry, came up as the top search website of all throughout the world. And so after they watched one of my videos, they're like, oh my gosh, we want to talk, we want to connect with you. And so then Mary Beth actually reached out to me, left me a message, and I was on my way from San Antonio to Ontario, Canada, to the Niagara Falls area. And of course, Cleveland, I have to go right past. And so when I ended up talking to them, I'm like, hey, I could stop off there. And so as soon as we connected, oh my gosh, it was like there was such a bond between me and Christopher. We, had so much humor that was just funny. We laughed a lot. And he can play Journey songs. Of course, he can play Christian songs. He's a concert pianist. He's extremely gifted. He actually used to play out in Las Vegas. He was that good. So he's amazing. And then the reason why he has his mohawk, he explains this in his testimony, was that he had gotten done playing a concert, and he was in Michigan, southern Michigan, as he was driving out of that venue. Then the Lord spoke to him and said, I want you to go to the hospital. It's like, what? Hospital? Okay. So as he's driving down the interstate, he sees a hospital sign, like within a minute. So he pulls off, goes to the hospital, walks in, and it's like a children's oncology cancer center. And as he's walking down the hallway, he hears a girl that says, hey, come here. And he stopped and he looked back. He's like, you mean me? He's like, yeah, come here. So he comes into the room. And then the little girl ends up taking scissors and cuts like one side of his hair off. And then he's like, well, you can't just leave the other side like that. So then she cuts the other side off. And then he has a mohawk. How cool is that? And he told her, listen, I'm going to keep this mohawk until you get healed from your cancer. And she was like, I think 8 at the time. Well, then now she's been healed. She actually played volleyball, one of the better volleyball players, I guess, in the state of Michigan. And I believe now maybe he's in college. And so he's kept the mohawk in honor of her. And he plays the piano just amazingly anointed. Oh my gosh. So anyways, it was interesting because he got certified under Restorative Freedom. And when he got certified, he started he couldn't contain himself. So his ministry really, in fact, I'll read this. Let me read this first, then I'll drill down. Christopher Milo is an internationally renowned concert pianist, motivational speaker, performer, author, and entrepreneur. Christopher has used his story and music to impact others. Through his leadership assemblies, conferences, anti-bullying seminars, suicide solution presentations, private sessions, and team building, people have been dramatically changed. He has spoken to over 500,000 educators, parents, and students in high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools, as well as churches, prisons, universities, and other venues. He's developed the 13 messages from Milo in his professional mentoring program. And what he does is he goes into these schools and he's there for like 4 days. You know, he speaks with the teachers, meets with them, he meets with the parents of the students, he meets with the students, you know, and then after he's done going through, he asks them, hey, if you want to stay around, you can actually listen to my testimony. And then he talks about Jesus in the public schools. He also talks about deliverance from Jezebel, Leviathan, Ahab. Kids getting delivered. How cool is that? You know, he's got such a boldness, but such a love for people, and the doors have opened for him so many places. And so that's really, and in fact, when I saw him last, I saw him in Cleveland in, I think it was the end of March of this year. And he ends up calling me and says, hey, Nelson, what do you think about doing a true freedom type conference with you and me and, you know, Dominic, Rabia? And I'm like, yeah, I think we need to do that. So I prayed about it, and the Lord said, absolutely, do this. So it was birthed out of Christopher's mouth when he spoke it. And, you know, and I'd always had in my spirit that the Lord wanted me to connect and do some of these conferences with Dominic Herbst, but our paths never really crossed. So we ultimately needed to actually do this outside of the church to be able to actually accomplish what the Lord needed, you know. And again, the combination of all 4 of us speaking, you know, I'm planning to have Dominic speak first, you know, in the morning, and then in the afternoon have Christopher Milo play some of his songs. Of course, he can play Christian songs. He'll play some Journey songs. He'll have fun, you know, and then he'll get into his serious message. You know, and then we'll have Rabia speak, and then I will close things out in the evening and take people through deliverance. And it'll be a beautiful, wonderful thing. Lots of healings will take place. So he said he has never been so excited. In fact, the whole connection with this Marriott is the person that's the VP of sales there is a Christian. And after he was explained to what we're looking to do, he's like, oh my gosh, he goes, we want to make this the best conference Marriott's ever had. Because if you're going to help people actually get set free from their father wounds and their mother wounds and their sexual violations, you know, and the churches are not going to embrace this, then we will. And I'm like, wow, how incredible is this? So anyways, Christopher is a very special guy. He's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. He and I have so much fun. We can't wait to connect with everyone. And then the last person that's going to be a part of this tour, the Lord had connected me with at Fit for Life. I know I see Trina on here right now, Trina Weisel, that owns that. Again, remember last year, this past year in March, I went there and we had something like 165 people that came on a Friday night. I mean, that was more than most churches that could get, you know, so it was powerful. And there's so many testimonies of people's lives that have gotten saved, set free, so many marriages that have been set free, and healings that have taken place. And so I'm actually going back there this coming Tuesday and Wednesday, doing a deliverance Tuesday night, doing a training on Wednesday. And she had a singer there by the name of Amanda. Amanda Jones Baugh is her name on Facebook, but the Amanda Baugh Band. And I'd never heard of her before. And when she came out and started singing, I was just blown away. I was like, who is this person? She's really, really good, you know? And so after she sang, I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, she's just on a different level. She's extremely anointed. And when we were thinking about doing, you know, these conferences, I hadn't thought yet about, well, gee, who would we have play worship? I was thinking, well, maybe some local band, in Cleveland that I don't know. And the Lord said, no, I want you to pick Amanda. I want her and her band to do these with you around the country and ultimately around the world. And I was like, all righty. And so this is her bio. Amanda Baugh is a Christian singer, songwriter, and speaker who is passionate about sharing the love of Jesus with others. Growing up in Central Florida, Amanda began singing at the age of 4 on the stage of a large multicultural church, rich in diversity. 4 years of age. Her father ran sound and her mother contributed on the praise and worship team. Due to events in her early childhood and well into her 20s, her gift of voice was unused in the Christian realm. This has led to a powerful testimony of redemption and God's faithfulness, which she passionately speaks about. In 2014, after years of leading worship at a local church, Amanda entered a Christian singing competition that resulted in the recording of her first single, Hold On, produced by Conrad Johnson, co-writer of Christian contemporary hits such as Lead Me to the Cross. Remember that song? Lead me to the cross. Okay, the same competition also allowed Amanda to sing at the World Pulse Festival. That's up in South Bend. Actually, I've been there to 2 of those. They do them once a year. They used to have them out at LaCie Broadcasting, and then they moved them to like downtown South Bend. And I remember having, what's her name? Grant. Well, Amy Grant, I know, has sang there before, but then the other, Natalie Grant, I actually got to talk with Natalie. She had sang one of the times there as well. But she sang at the World Pulse Festival for a crowd of more than 5,000 people, sharing the stage with Christian artists such as Chris Tomlin, Colton Dixon, Mandisa, Sanctus Real, Building 429, Skillet, and many more. Amanda then began traveling to local churches across the Midwest, leading worship and speaking at women's conferences. Prompted by a desire to reach more people for Christ, Amanda connected with Matt Hammett, former lead singer of Sanctus Real, to begin the process of writing and recording a 3-song album titled Your Love. Produced by Jacob Rye, former bass player for Sanctus Real, the album was released in October of 2016. Following the release of the album, Your Love was the formation of the Amanda Baugh Band. ABB's mission is to change the atmosphere with his presence. Their yes is to take music and message to those around them and to the ends of the earth, truly living out Isaiah 6:8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here am I, send me. Most recently, the Amanda Baugh Band has traveled to central Mexico, where the Amanda Baugh Band was asked to lead worship. And I know that she's also been asked to go down to Florida. I think it's in February. So anyways, or maybe it's March. So anyway, we're very fortunate to be able to have the Amanda Baugh Band, who's going to actually be performing, she's going to be singing actually Tuesday night. There's another band that's actually going to be their 1721 band on Tuesday night. But the Amanda Baugh Band is going to be going to Cleveland on November the 16th. And then we're having them go throughout the country with us. So it's going to be fun. This tour is going to be unlike any conference, I believe, that anyone's ever attended before, because we're going to speak about getting people truly set free. We're not going to have to say, oh my gosh, we can't talk about Christians having demons, because they do. So we're going to tell people, listen, this is how you get set free. It's going to lead up to a crescendo, really, for the evening, when we take the entire mass of people through deliverance. I don't know that this has ever been done before. I mean, I'm sure there's others that have done some deliverances and so forth, but to have this group of people, we're like a motley crew, if you're familiar with that group, I think from the 80s, but we really are. We all have such a different background. You have Christopher Milo, who's got a mohawk, who plays the piano like nobody's business. And then you have Dominic Herbst, a Christian psychologist who knows how important deliverance is and knows that people have demons, and he does not shy away from talking about that. You have Rabia Scott from Hollywood, and having been a dancer for Prince and been on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Beverly Hills 90210, and the Unplanned movie, of course, for Christian movies. And she's extremely gifted, very prophetic, and then little old me, kid from a cornfield, from Little Indiana, just amazing, and then Amanda Baugh. It's just going to be fun. It's going to be such a fun conference, and we will have the an Eventbrite for that created Monday. I'm having to wait till Monday because the special rooms that we have, the rates at the Marriott, will not have the link until Monday. So I'm having Tina actually work up now all the preliminaries of that so we can end up publishing that on Monday. And then we'll share that on Facebook, and then you can sign up for it and register for it. We are going to have to charge for it because it's going to be in a hotel. And of course, you're getting 4 amazing speakers. So, but we are looking to actually have an early bird price on it for people that sign up early versus waiting till the last minute. And it will definitely be worth it, and I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. And then, my good friend, Tina Marie Kirkpatrick, is also going to be there. Just saw her coming on there. And I think she's going to maybe potentially be our MC. I don't know if she's made that decision quite yet, hopefully. She's amazing. She's very well spoken. She's funny, has a great sense of humor, comes from a corporate background like myself. Used to work for HP, and she would be phenomenal. Plus, she's funny. She's got a very good sense of humor, extremely good sense of humor. When I rate people that have sense of humor, it seems like normally we see oftentimes more of the guys, but I'm like, for a woman, I don't know of anybody that's more funny than her, especially with her hashtags that she uses. She's like the hashtag queen, and she's from Columbia City, Indiana. We never knew each other, didn't meet her until Facebook, and we connected about, 2 years ago, I think, 2017. Yeah, 2 years ago, July, this month, 2 years ago, yeah. So God set all of this up, in advance, obviously, building to this time, and it's amazing. It is really, truly amazing to watch all this, and yes, just give her a microphone and it'll probably be like, okay, no more talking, get off the platform now. What have we done? We've created a monster here. So, but you guys will love, I know there's already people from California that are planning to come, to Cleveland, and you will have a lot of fun. Plus, I think it's going to be great because it's in Cleveland. It's kind of like in the Midwest, so it's going to be easy for people to drive, from Maine and the South and the plains and so forth. Think about me. I've driven 17 hours in one day. I've driven from San Antonio to Kentucky in one day. If I can do that, you can do that. And I know a lot of people have never. Road trips are fun when you don't have demonic spirits. Road trips are a blast. I never strive, fight, or argue. We have fun. So anyway, it's going to be powerful, this tour. And so the Lord's shown me, because again, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, that I can go to some of these, like we can have maybe 2 of these in a month, and we can get 500 to a shot to get set free, and get 1,000 for 2 conferences, or maybe 2,000 if we start to really see this blow up, like I believe that we will. So that way, instead of having to go, like I'm doing ministry 16 nights in July. 16 nights. That's why sometimes I get a little tired, especially when you're traveling, and I don't have much time to stay in one place. So it would be nice to be able to actually go and see the masses get set free, and have multiple people coming in from different backgrounds, from different denominations. So it'll be fun, and we'll have a lot of fun. We really will, and we'll get serious. We need to get serious, and so anyways. As soon as we get this, the link from Marriott for the rooms, we will get the Eventbrite published, and then that will also be posted on Facebook and on other social media, so that we can start to advertise this. And we're expecting, there's a lot of people that know Christopher Milo in Cleveland, so we could have a sellout pretty quickly. And we are going to give a discount for those that sign up early versus waiting to the last minute. So And then once we do this in Cleveland, November 16th, we're going to the next one, January 18th, down in Houston. I know I have a huge following down in Texas. They're my tribe, people in Houston. We have more people in the Houston area that are certified in RTF, under RTF, than any other city in the world. So we will see that. That will be fun too. I mean, for you guys want to get away from cold weather, Houston is a great place to go in January. You know, it's not going to be, you know, in the 30s. You know, normally it's not. It's going to be, you know, probably closer to the, you know, 50s to 60s, maybe 70s. So it will be ideal. And it's not far from Tina. So Tina can just drive down from College Station. Nice hop, skip, and a jump. So we have a lot of people in Houston. And then Phoenix, my good friend Robbie Rederer, when I came out there, she like connected me to the entire city. So, and suburbs, you know, Tempe and Scottsdale and Maricopa and all those places. So I can't wait to then come out to Phoenix in February. Because, you know, you go to Phoenix in June like I did, and it almost feels like hell. It really does. I mean, the steering wheel was so hot, I could not touch it. It was probably 200 degrees, you know. And I remember my Blistex, what I used for my lips, melted, completely gone. It's like now, like inside of my cup holder. I'm like, oh my gosh. And the water that you have in your car, it like starts to boil. So anyways, oh yeah, how many are certified in Houston versus Phoenix? Now the thing is, yeah, we've got the Yada sisters now. They're that all of them are getting certified. We don't have them all listed though, so we need to get all their emails from you, and then Tina needs to add those in, and then we can compare apples to apples, because I forgot about all the Yada sisters in Phoenix. So you may be close to being the same as we have out in Houston. So anyways, it's going to be fun. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to laugh. I mean, it's going to be such a great non-religious freedom session. True freedom. You know, it's so aptly named, True Freedom. And I can't wait to see like the interaction between Christopher, Milo, and Rabia, for instance, because Christopher likes to like joke and maybe play some practical jokes. So, you know, it'll be fun. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to see that. And I'll probably continue to do some. Oh my goodness. Guess who just called? Christopher Milo. He interrupted my Facebook Live. I guess I forgot to turn on my Do Not Disturb. So Christopher, hello. I'm on Facebook Live right now. You should be watching this. Probably because I'm talking about him and his ears are burning, so, and his hair is on fire. So we're going to have so much fun. Oh my gosh. So July 21st, this coming Sunday, I will be at Eagle's Nest Church with Pastor Daryl Gant in Sandusky, Ohio. And July 23rd, 24th, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be at Fit for Life with Trina Weisel in Angola, Indiana. Can't wait to go back there again. Again, they are located beneath a Freemason lodge. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? You know, in fact, the whole town was like founded by witches and stuff. So he just sent me a text. Have I considered a video crew coming to Cleveland? Well, I have not considered that yet. Maybe we should have that. So, oh my. All right, let me get back. So, July 23rd, 24th, I'll be at Fit for Life in Angola, Indiana. Yay! I can't wait. In fact, we're going to have Joy and her husband Frank share their testimony live. Amazing. It was over a year ago that she had gone through deliverance, saved their marriage, no more striving, no more arguing. The children are loving it, so I can't wait. In fact, there's Joy now. Yay! It's like we're one big family as this keeps growing out. It's so fun. So I can't wait for them to share the testimony. They're going to be there on the 24th, July 24th, which is our training, which is when I normally share testimonies from people so that they can receive just how powerful that deliverance is when we forgive people. You know, again, people get all spooked out over the word deliverance, but you know, what it really is just being freed, getting freed from the torment of the demons in our mind. And we do that through a normal process of forgiving people for hurting us, as well as repenting for our own sins and our own pride. And if people don't do that, they're not going to get delivered, and they're going to act really bad. That's how it works. And if you can't see it, then maybe you need to videotape yourself when you're getting all angry and mad and saying, is that what I look like? Oh my gosh, that looks really bad. Maybe I need delivered. Yeah, maybe. So then after I'm in Angola the 24th, then I'm going to Appleton, Wisconsin, July the 26th. That's next Friday. My good friend Kel Bales. It's the only guy I know named Kel Bales. So can't wait to see him again. Appleton, Wisconsin. And then July 27th, 28th, I'll be in Stevens Point, Wisconsin at the River of God Church. Pastor Brendan Ghazi, who is amazing and all full gospel, and can't wait to be there. Going to actually be speaking a Sunday morning, and it's going to be whatever the Lord guides me to speak about. So can't wait. Going to be doing also a deliverance on that Saturday, doing a training on Sunday. And then on my way to Virginia, I'm stopping off in Cleveland, July 31st, at the Lions of the War Room in Willowick, which is a suburb of Cleveland. So I'll be there for that. August 4th, I'll be at Cooters. If you remember Dukes of Hazzard and the Duke Boys and Daisy Duke, they have a restaurant called Cooters there. And I am going to be doing a deliverance in the morning and in the evening in Luray, Virginia, which is like the northern part of Virginia. August 7th, I'll be doing deliverance in Pakistan, although I'll be here in the United States. I've done one before there where they do the interpretation. People yawn, they get delivered in Pakistan like they do here. So that will be fun. And then I'm looking to come back in August to Indiana. There's a couple of other churches that want me to speak either the end of August or early September. And then September 20th, 21st, going to the River House in Jacksonville, Florida with Dr. Russ Welch and Doug Sneed that are over that. They have got 35 people there that got trained under Restorative Freedom. They're doing deliverances, seeing great results. And then September 24th, I'll be in Hilliard, Florida at a home group. And then I'm looking to go back to Houston in early October to a church. And then October 20th, going out to California to Word of Life Assembly in Bernie, California. It's the largest church in Bernie, California. It's located northwest of Redding, California. And then November 16th, the True Freedom Tour begins at the Cleveland Marriott East in Warrensville Heights. And then January 18th, True Freedom Tour at the Marriott in Houston at the Woodlands. And then February, looking to go out to Phoenix. So yay! God is on the move, and it's going to be fun. And if you guys aren't certified under Restorative Freedom, you can be. You simply have to go out to restorativefreedom.com and then click on the RTF certification process. And then you need to watch 4 videos on YouTube, buy 3 books. And when you're done, then you will be given the certificate. And then if you want to be added to the website, you simply make a donation and we'll add you. And then we continue to grow this out. We have people that are getting emailed every week from people that want a personal session to get set free and delivered. So yay. Alrighty, well that is all that I needed to talk about today, and I'm not going to do any prophetic stuff because I'm kind of trying to be in rest mode, because when you do 16 nights in 31, that's a lot, and you still have people pulling on you from different directions. So alrighty, well I will let you guys go. Have a great weekend. I know it's going to be hot here in the Midwest, like over 100 degree heat indexes, so thank God for air conditioning. What did people do before air conditioning? You think about that. Back in the 1600s and 1700s, they just sit around and sweat? Ew. Did they go into the water and sit? Think about that. I can't imagine. I remember in Indiana, in Columbia City, where I lived, grew up on the farm, we had an air conditioner downstairs that conditioned just the air, like in one room primarily. We'd have fans that would blow out the cool air to the kitchen. But I always looked forward when I was a kid when it got really hot, because we would not sleep upstairs. We would all sleep downstairs. We would have put the cushions down and make a bed out of it and have sleeping bags. And that's how we stayed cool. So how funny is that now that we all have central air in our homes, or at least most of us do. Alrighty. We'll let you guys go. Have a great weekend. Love you. See you. Bye-bye.